Hello and Assalamualaikum. We are the members of
N2E.
We will be explaining our coding to our game, which is Fruits Basket.
Hello, my name is Nurhaslinda binti Muhammad Omar. I made the first version of the game where this version of the game only needed some kind of fruit and some kind of other items. The first version of the variant with others version is that this version has no resistance such as speed and bomb and bomb and additions the other items like bombs and the other else. So I will explain the coding for the first version.
Version of the game's genre is very easy as the first version is the basic for this game only. The game just needs to catch fruits like apple and orange and shoot about items other than fruits like cans and books. The beginning of this coding script, I have put the common code like my name, input, press enter to start, which is press enter to start will appear in the screen when we click the run for the script. As example, when I press enter key, then the screen game will appear. There is also a code for the caption like pie game, display, set caption, level 1, which is level 1 will appear in the screen game. In addition, the code for color is also set like black, white, green, and red, while X, Y, val, my life 1, my score 1 are also set to show positions, speed, and screen display for life as variable that serve to facilitate each class set to read. For music, such as pygame, mixer.sound, and name for file is used to identify music file read by Python, but once I have used two different type of music, so I have to set two different variables like fruit and items. The last code I set is a code for the file to read by pygame like pygame image.load and the file name, while game over serves as a variable for this code. Next, I have classified every item or image to use code like this game to facilitate the identification of errors. Each class has been placed different variable for script reading, such as the use of variable block A referring to the use of basket, block Y referring to orange, image orange, block IE referring to apple image, block referring to can image, and blue referring to book image. The code for this first class is that's called the basket image like pygame. For the block E, code that called the basket image like pygame.image.load and the file name. And for the second code, pygame.transform that call selfie.image 215 and 120 work as height and width code. It's work at random for every item Y movement. For the code selfie.rect, selfie.image.get@rect also serve as a repetition for each of these items. All the above code is used in all class like block E, block, and bloom. But there is a small change to class other than basket where addition in the pipe. There is small change to class other than basket where addition codes such as self-rectangle, self-rec, self-rec.y, random.range, -300 and -20 referring to x and y is functioning control the speed of movement y, while self-rec x random range 0 screen wide because I don't use the movement for x in this image. For the self.rec.y plus 6 is referring a functioning for the speed of the movement y. For the code self.rec.y more than 700, while self.reset.post is referring to code which is set to reset the movement of y if hit on the screen automatically, then repeat. Same like other the classes, I use the same code for the script. The last one class I have been set is for the player. Player 1 means is block A basket. So I just set for the movement X because the movement I set is for the variable only. The class used is the class for the player whose script only use the code self.rec.x and self.rec.y because x is we don't have a movement from x, but while we have a movement from we need to catch the movement from y. That's why we put the y in the range screen width, screen height, and screen. This code works for set of display screen and also as reference to all the code above classes because the codes need to pay attention while they make a movement. For the block list and block list tree, referring to block list is referring to basket image or basket classes, while block list tree referring to all the item other than basket. The class code for this all works is following coding to declare how many of the sprite to show up on screen. The number 1 means that there will always be one orange that fall down, no more or no less than that. After that, we will add the orange to the first block list and to all split lists. Do the same steps for apple, for can, and book. For this code, player 1 read is for the if the player fails to continue their stage. While clock code for clock pygame.clock is the set for the speed. All this code is follow the function in the keyboard for the player to press and make a movement for the basket. Screen fill white is we use the other version use the same colors. That's why we declare to use the white color code. All this code is will take action if one of the player life equal to 0. All of the scripts are cleared so that the game will not be playable behind the screen. Then for the life we already set above, and if the player fail to continue their stage, the screen will appear some kind of screen display in your blue color. Then there will appear an over. That's all for the version 1. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Haizat bin Mohammed. I will explain for the second version. The difference from first version and the second version is the second version we have a bomb, and they didn't have any different from the speed. Version 2. For the second version, there is no much of difference from the first version. For the second version, it has a bomb. First, to start the game, there is no start menu except that the player will only have to input the enter button to play, which is what this coding will do. Next, all the necessary variables are coded. The colors such as black, white, green, and red are defined. The sound effect for when the basket hits something is also loaded, which is for the fruit, items, and bombs. After that, we start with the making of the class for object. The first class, which called block A, is for the basket. Load the basket image in it with pygame.image.load and transform it with the width of 250 and the height of 420. The next class is for the fruit. Like the first class, load an image for the orange transform it but to the width and the height of 120. Make the function, then orange will randomly appear in y coordinate 300 to 220 and in x coordinate range from 0 to the screen wide. This code will move the image down by 6 pixels, and the more pixels amount, the faster it will move down. The next code means the image will reset if they reach the bottom of the screen. Do this again for the apple, item, and the bomb, but just with different image. Afterward, the class for the player are made. The former class for the player sprite, which is block A, put and the X movement variable. X is used to define its movement. 4 groups of sprites are made. Block list will contain fruit. Block list 2 is for the item, and block list 3 will contain bomb. The last one is the all sprite list is for all of them including the player. The following coding is to declare how many of the sprites to show up on the screen. The number 2 means that there will always be 2 orange that fall down, no more or no less than that. After that, we will add the orange to the first block list and to our sprite list. Do the same step for apple, can, book, and bomb, but put their on their respective list. As usual, write the main load program and we can start coding on how the player moves. Make a variable for when the keyboard gets pressed. If the left arrow key is pressed, player basket will move to the left. This can use on the other way around, but when the right key is pressed. Make a code for screen block so when the player basket hit the side of the screen, so that it will run out of the side. Coming up next is the coding for the basket hit something. The first one is when the player basket hit the first block list, which is the fruit. The code will make the player score go up by 1 each time their basket hit a fruit, and the fruit sound effect will play 1 time. The reset position function is called. The second one is for the when player basket hit block list 3, which is the player bomb. This code will make player life equal 0 each time the basket hit the bomb. The sound effect for the bomb is played one time. Again, the reset position function is called. The last one is when it hit the item which is listed in block list 2. Each time the basket hit the item, the code will make sure player life variable goes down by 1. The sound effect for the item will also play on. Same as the above, the function for the reset position is called. Later on, the code for the game over screen is written. We also need to make variable for the text that will show up in certain situation. This code will take action if player life equal to 0. The game over image will show up and player score are displayed. All of sprites are clear so that the game will not be played behind the screen.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Ufi Birusi. I want to explain my version is version 3. The different version 2 and 3 is multiplayer.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. This is my version 3. This is my game. So for version 3, there is not much difference between version 1 and version 2. The difference is multiplayer, and version 3 is also different from version 4 instead of speed only. First to start the game, there is no startup menu except the player only need to enter the enter button to play where his recording will be done. Furthermore, variable are equal color like red, white, green, and red are defined. Both x and y coordinate of the player are defined as variable, and so are their speed, life, and score. Sound effect when a basket hits something is also not available for foot, gun, and bomb. Background audio is loud on this code will be play non-stop during the game. Background image are also placed to change window size. Okay, when we will start by creating a class for the object, the first class called block is the player basket. The first player basket. Load the basket image in the wish page image load and change its width of 250 and width of 120. Repeat the same step to player 2, but the different basket image are used and use different name. The next class is for fruit, like the first class. Load in orange image and change stock to white and height 120. Create a function where the orange will expire in coordinate from 30 to 20 and as coordinate from 0 to the width of the screen. This code will move the image down by 9 pixels and more faster pixels will move down. This that distinguishes the version for the rest. The next code means the image will be it reach the button of the screen. Do this again for apple, star, bomb, and the other different image. Then the class for the player is created. Form a class for the first player at the block A. Is place of the movement variable s. N is used to determine the movement. It is repeat one more time. The variables are placed for player 2 and box placement y are constant because they are only move horizontal. For split matchmate, the list of it will contain fruit. The block 2 list it for item, and the block 3 will contain a bomb. The last on the list of the split of the them are included player. The following is going to display how many split are displayed on the screen. Number 2 mean there will be 2 orange drop, no more or no less than that. After that, we will add the orange to the first block list and to all split list do the same. For apple can be scan, book, bomb, but place them on the list. Then add both players to all spread lists. As always, write the main loop program and we can start coding how the player move make a variable when the keyboard is pressed. If the left arrow key is the first bucket, player will move left. This can be used instead, but when the right key is pressed, create a code for the plot for the screen so that when the player one basket hit the screen so it does not run out of sight. Perform this step 1 again for the player movement, but replace the variable as the variable. Coming next, according when the basket hits something, the first is when the first basket player hit the first block list, which is the fruit. This code will make the score of one player increase by 1 time each time their basket reach for fruit, and effect to the fruit will be 1. The position function is called. The second is when player 1 score players record a block 3 list that is a bomb. This code will make the first life player equal to 0 every time the basket hit the bomb. Sound effects for bombing are played once. Again, its positive function is called. The latter is when the touching the item listed in the block list 2. Every time the basket hit the item, the code will increase the life variable goes down with 1. The sound effect for the item will be replacement, just like the above function. For repression is called when the code is skimmed. For post skim writing, we also need to make variable for next level and caution situation. This code will take action if player life is equal to 0. The game over image will spread player score 1 and 2 all spread are clean, so the game will not play behind the screen.
My name is Asha Binti Harun and I will be explaining the fourth version of our game. The difference between the fourth version and the former one is that the speed of the bomb, fruits and items falling down are much faster. For version 4, there is not much of a difference between this and the former version, only the speed of the fruits, items and bomb are faster. First, to start the game, there is no start menu except that the player will only have to input the enter button to play, which is what this coding will do. Next, all the necessary variables are coded. The colors such as black, white, green and red are defined. Both of the player's x and y's coordinate are set as variables, and so are their speed, lives and scores. The sound effects for when the basket hits something is also loaded, which is for the fruits, item, and bomb. The background audio is loaded and this code will make it play non-stop during the game. Background image is also put and transformed within the size of the window. After that, we'll start with the making of the class per object. The first class, which is called Block A, is for the player's one basket. Load the basket image in it with pygame.image.load and transform it with the width of 250 and the height of 120. Repeat the same steps for player 2 but load a different basket image and use a different name. The next class is for the fruits. Like the first two class, load an image of the orange and transform it but to the width and the height of 120. Make a function where the orange will randomly appear in y coordinate ranging from -300 to -220 and in x coordinate ranging from 0 to the screen width. This code will move the image down by 9 pixels, and the more pixels amount, the faster it will move down. This is what differentiates this version from the others. The next code means that the image will reset if it reaches the bottom of the screen. Do this again for the apple, items and bomb, but just with different image. Afterward, the class for the players are made. The former class for player 1 sprite, which is block A, are put, and the X movement variable X is used to define its movement. This is repeated one more time, but the A variable is put for player 2 and both of the Y placement is constant as they only move horizontally. 4 groups of sprites are made. Block list will contain fruits, block list 2 is for items, and block list 3 will contain bomb. The last one, which is the all sprite list, is for all of them including the player. The following coding is to declare how many of the sprites to show up on screen. Number 2 means that there will always be 2 oranges that fall down, no more or no less than that. After that, we will add the orange to the first block list and to all sprites list. Do the same steps for apple, can, book, and bomb, but put them on their respective lists. Next, add both of the players to the all sprite list. As usual, write the main loop program and we can start coding on how the player moves. Make a variable for when the keyboard gets pressed. If the left arrow key is pressed, player 1's basket will move to the left. This can be used on the other way around, but when the right key is pressed. Make a code for screen block so when the player 1 basket hits the side of the screen, it won't run out of sight. Do this step one more time for player 2 movement, but replace the X variable with the A variable. Coming up next is the coding for when the basket hits something. The first one is when player 1's basket hits the first block list, which is the fruit. The code will make player 1 scores go up by 1 each time their basket hits a fruit, and the fruit sound effect will play one time. The reset position function is called. The second one is for when player 1's basket hits block list 3, which is the bomb. The code will make player 1's lives equal to 0 each time the player hits the bomb. The sound effect for the bomb is played one time. Again, the reset position function is called. The last one is when it hits the items, which is listed in block list 2. Each time the basket hits the items, the code will make sure player 1's life variable go down by 1. The sound effect for the item will also play it once. Same as the above, the function for the reset position is called. This code is repeated for player 2 and the variables are replaced by player 2's life and scores variable. Later on, the code for the game over screen is written. We also need to make variables for the text that will show up in certain situations. This code will take action if one of the player's lives equal to 0. The game over image will show up and player 1 and 2 scores are displayed, although the sprites are cleared so that the game will not be playable behind the screen. Alongside of it, another code will act if player 1's score is more than player 2. This action is the same as the above, but another text declaring the player 1's victory will be displayed. If player 2 scores more than player 1, the text declaring player 2 wins will show up. If neither of them are true, the text saying that it's a tie will be displayed instead.
That's all from us. Thank you for watching.
Buat sikit lah. My name is Aisha binti Harun and I will be explaining the fourth version of our game. The difference between the fourth version and all of the other versions are simply because I will choose.
My name is Muhammad Ufi Rosli.
Hello, my name is Nurhasnida binti Muhammad Omar. I made the first version of the game, where this version of the game only needed.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Haizat bin Muhammad.
Bagi saya sebab video. Teman.
This video nak tahu. Thanks for watching.
Dah.
Dah.
Dah lah.
That's all from us. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Good night. Thank you. Isi.